one, go.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. You may be wondering how this all came about. My name is Gail McMillan, and like our performer this evening, Jonathan Nkala, I was born in Zimbabwe. And I became aware of Jonathan during the recent violent protests that we had in South Africa, when he put some profound posts onto Facebook, pleading with people in South Africa not to destroy our infrastructure, not to loot and destroy businesses. I also became aware at that time that although Jonathan was an established performer, playwright and poet, that during the pandemic, as a result of the pandemic, that he had actually lost all his income streams. Everything that he'd been doing disappeared. So we, Gordon and I, decided that we wanted to try to do something to help re-establish Jonathan's career and his life. So we reached out to some friends for support and advice, and one of those friends was David Amos. And David made the suggestion that Jonathan come and actually do a performance in his own home. So tonight, Jonathan is performing his play called The Crossing, which is the story of his journey of escape from profound poverty in Zimbabwe to creating a new life for himself in South Africa. And this performance this evening is being streamed out live across the UK and Europe, in Australia and America, in Canada and the Middle East, among other places. So I really trust that you're going to enjoy this performance and support it generously. So without further ado, I want to give you Jonathan Nkala.
Sikochi, sakali hata sikochi, sakali simuka hande, aiwa wandanga ndichireva. No, my friend, Kumbu, my friend, you are just singing out of tune, my friend, and your moves, my friend, it's a disaster waiting to happen. My friend, look at me, my friend, look at me. Copy, learn, my friend. Copy and learn, my friend. Onological specimens of identical plumage perambulate in close proximity. Jacob Banda was my best friend since childhood, but no one else liked Jacob. Maybe because of his name, Jacob. Back home, Jacob is a name given to donkeys only, and it is pronounced as Jacobo. I come from a very small community of Mbizo in Kwekwe in the USZ, the unstable state of Zimbabwe. A very small community with a population of 20,000 people and 18 jobs. A very small community with only one set of traffic lights, which doesn't work. A very small community where you can't even sneeze without half the town going, "Bless you!" A very small community where traditions and religions are strictly enforced. For example, when a chicken is slaughtered, most probably on month ends or Christmas, no one except the father is allowed to eat the thigh or the back portion. Then the wings and breasts belongs to the mother. The head and feet are for boys. Then whatever is left over for girls. Hey, namkase mainerai! Hey, top mainerai! I want I'm cow mainerai wakumada. Hey, ma, it's a kubukumba. One day, Jacob and I sitting on a street corner, as usual, busy doing nothing, as usual, because there is nothing to do. Jacob reading his newspaper. Kumbu, my friend, Kumbu, my friend, a contract to create jobs and a better life for all is currently underway in South Africa. Jacob claimed to be well informed. He was the only guy in our small community who always had a newspaper, even though they were mostly 2 to 3 weeks backdated. Jacob always told me how life was different in other countries. His country of choice was South Africa, and his city of choice was Johannesburg. This then developed an ambition in us to make a difference in our lives, not by looting farms from the pandas. Previously advantaged, now disadvantaged. No, but to go to a city that would work for us. Neither Jacob nor I had a passport, let alone a visa. Not that we did not want to, but it was way difficult getting one. Firstly, because our freaking government had introduced unnecessary conditions with high fares. Secondly, it cost a lot just to travel to the Home Affairs offices, since passports were only applied in Harare and Bulawayo. Bus fares were very expensive since we had a shortage in fuel. I still can recall some cases whereby some funerals had to be postponed because hearses were stuck out of gas. So our only option was to jump the border. Jump the freaking border. We all knew that this was dangerous and illegal. But Jacob would always say, Kumbu, my friend, Kumbu, my friend, being Zimbabwean itself, my friend, is dangerous and illegal. In order to survive, we had to put ourselves first and do a little bit of corruption. Yeah, tell me, what justice is there when one needs a political membership card in order to buy basic foods? Our church pastor used to preach and say, children of God, those who wait upon the Lord will never lack anything. He will provide manna, milk, and honey. Praise the Lord. But this made no sense to us to listen to this old poor man talking about the Lord who provides manna, milk, and honey. Yet, the only people we saw providing for us and him as well were our mothers. Most probably, the motive behind these scriptures was a cup of tea and a few slices of bread afterwards. Then Jacob would say, Kumbu, my friend, Kumbu, my friend, we cannot stay here and die waiting for the Lord to provide for us. My friend, we don't have money for passports. My friend, we are not going to kill or steal from anyone. We are just jumping the border, jumping the freaking border. My friend, onological specimens of identical plumage perambulate in close proximity. It then came to pass that after 3 days, when I had had nothing to eat, because we had nothing to eat, then I knew it was time for me to pack up and move. Move, 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 until I got what I wanted. And what did I want? Life in abundance. The joys of showcasing my musical talents on stage and to the world, and getting paid for it without the religious leaders making me feel guilty, saying, yeah, we are born again, we are born again. You are now doing the devil's work. The joys of playing the Ebenezer bass guitar, the chord keyboards, the Yamaha drum sets, the small joys of brushing my beautiful teeth with Colgate every day rather than using a green washing soap. The small joys of using a roll-on deodorant after taking a shower on a daily basis. The small joys of sitting in a restaurant and eating the whole chicken using a fork and knife. That's a joke. Why are you not laughing? Jacob and I had saved a few useless millions in dollars and buried them in the back garden of our 2-roomed house. This burying of money had become the most practiced thing by many people in Zimbabwe. It is so ironic to see so much poverty and hunger in families. But if you were to dig their back gardens, millions, billions, trillions, or even zillions were buried down there. I mean, desperate poor people from dusty villages without electricity or running water, not even showers. Ah, shame. Reverend J.Z. Tim Shiniwam will never preach under those conditions. Jacob and I decided to keep our plan a secret. Not even our parents knew about it. Parents were not supportive of this jump the border idea. A lot of stories have been told of thousands of horror stories about millions of Zimbabweans who have perished along the way. The lions of the Kruger National Park, the crocodiles of the Limpopo River, and the South African soldiers shooting those who tried to escape after being knotted. But fortunately for Jacob and I, faith and courage were our strong points. We believed that God would only take care of us only if we go out there and look for what we wanted. And what did we want? Life in abundance. The time came. Then I had to come up with something that will not make my mother be suspicious. Mama. Uyabona mama, kusasa uyabona, so tomorrow mama, me and Jacob are going to the bush. You're going to fetch some firewood and we will be back maybe tomorrow or when we get what we want. Poor mama smiled. She believed me because she was used in this idea of us going to the bush mostly for days to pray, fast, and then bring some firewood, which will then be used for cooking. Jacob also lied to his parents, and it wasn't long before we were hitchhiking. Vanotsira iko, enda chatengawo yangu, gonna buy mine one day hapa. Imweyo chako imweyo. Baba! Makadi baba! Vaviri! Bite biriji! Bite biriji! Bite biriji baba! Pinda chako one day. It wasn't long before we got a hike from a truck transporting cotton from Gokwe to Bite Bridge. The driver entertained us with stories about Johannesburg. But at times, he scared us with stories of those who became victims to the crocodiles. At that moment, I was not scared of crocodiles. I had what I thought a brilliant idea. My plan was, Jacob and I would only cross the river at night when all those lazy, freaking stupid crocodiles were sleeping. But little did I knew that's the time they are fully operating. I thought that was covered. We arrived at Bite Bridge just after sunset, and we went straight to the border. But I was flabbergasted with what I saw. Border jumping direct from the border post is way mission impossible for, especially if you don't have a little something to make the trouble go away. The fence is electrified and razor wired all over. Then the river itself, so huge and wide and full of crocodiles and hippos, and then the army patrols on both sides, the Zimbabwean and the South African side. Feeling rather hopeless, we went to the bus rank where groups and groups of people were gathered and sharing ideas. My first experience in networking. Some people have been there for quite a long time. Nah. Others were just been deported from South Africa. Losers. Others worked on farms nearby, but on the South African side. That's the group Jacob and I joined for the night. Hey, Mahadi Madara. Ewa, Chakasimba Madara, show one love Madara, one love Madara, show one love, one love. Hey, Pachawe Baba, yeah, German, show German. Hey, di Jacobo, di Kumbo. Serious? 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 They were walking to a place called Chivara, about 200 kilometers from where we were. It is a place where they would cross over to South Africa, and security was not as tight as at the border post. We decided to join them walk all the way to Chivara. We left Bite Bridge in the early hours of the next day. We were in a group of about 20 to 30 people. Temperatures were 37 to 40 degrees. But I did not feel any heat, hunger, or thirst because these had become part of my life since childhood. We walked and we talked, Jaco, twende Johnny Mo, ho ho ho, and we sang, Siaiwela, 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 Sirilin. We all had one common denominator, Siaiwela, crossing over. Siaiwela. We all knew that this was not going to be easy. Otherwise, Zimbabwe will be empty with only Bob and his puppets. Siaiwela, 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 Siaiwela. It then got very dark, and we decided to call it a day. We sat somewhere in the middle of nowhere, chatting and dozing one by one until we all fell asleep. Good night, Jaco. Tona na mangwana mga wangu. Day number 2. Morning wangu Jaco. Wamuka sesha mwa. Nalo ruendo. Hande. Siaiwela, Siaiwela, Siaiwela. Kumbu, my friend. Can you see this huge footprint here, my friend? I just wonder, what type of an animal is this, my friend? That huge footprint. Kumbu, can you see that huge dung there? Yo, my friend, some animals can shit. Yo. Kumbu. For the first time in my life, I saw a herd of elephants. I just went numb until Tawanda, the oldest, said, Hey, vakoma na chikokai man, kana tsina kuenwa tsikwadze munhu vakoma na chikokai. He told us not to panic. If not provoked, elephants would never harm anyone. I then fell in love with those huge animals. I did not see any worries on their faces, neither did their huge bodies stop them from running and playing up and down. Then I said to Jacobo, my friend, if those huge animals can be so happy in appreciation of life itself, then who are we not to appreciate the small joys of life? Kumbu, my friend, onological specimens of identical plumage perambulate in close proximity. And they Jaguatanga, Siaiwela, Siaiwela. Day number 3. Siaiwela. We were all tired and exhausted. See your food. But no one accepted it. Siaiwela. Finally, we smelled some water. We knew we had arrived. We were all excited. Jakushamwa, kweta mvura mwangu handei. Siyai wela, siyai wela, siyai wela. There I was, standing in front of a huge flowing Limpopo River. But this is not what I had expected. Suddenly, another challenge presented itself. Swimming. One thing I will never ever do for $1,000,000 is swim. I still even can't recall swimming in a small pond of water. Maybe it's because of my culture. My totem is Nkala. That means crab in English. And since a crab stays in water, by law, I must not eat or play anywhere near its dwelling place. And again, I'd never seen such a very huge dam. The only dam that I knew about was the municipal sewage dam. As I stared at the river, I saw many objects that looked like rotten tree logs laying in the rock surfaces in the river. But then I noticed some movements. Then I knew those were not any rotten tree logs at all. They were crocodiles. That is when I allowed fear to overcome me. I was afraid of the crocodiles. I was afraid of swimming. I was afraid of the river itself. Yeah, I was afraid. I suddenly saw my dreams slowly but surely disappearing into the river. Suddenly, I remembered what my mother used to say about fear. Kumbu mtanami, fear had paralyzed the destiny of many people. The only way to overcome it is to face that thing you are afraid of and do it. I had to face my fears. I then joined Jacob and the other guys who were already in the queue to pay the local guys who had a brilliant idea to cross over. Their plan was simple and straightforward. Titanic reloaded. They took a very big tree trunk, a dry one that doesn't sink, and they tied 2 pieces of wire on both ends. Then the one guy, our captain, would use this piece of wire to steer the ship. So would his second in command. And then we, the passengers, would slightly hold the Titanic, slightly, with our left hands and then pedal with our right hands. That sounded like a piece of chocolate and vanilla cake. I then offered to pay with the only valuable thing I had. My shoes. At that moment, we had nothing. Our last money had been taken by a group of men who wait along the way to rob those brave enough to cross over. They are better known as Magumaguma. They carry knives, pangas, and izindu. Even the police knows about these lazy, freaking, stupid bastards, idiots. But they are reluctant to do anything. Anyway, who cares protecting border jumpers? No one cares. Help? What help? Hey, varume shangu dzangu idzi. Ah, my brother, what do you mean just smelling men? There's a lot of water in the We had moments of prayer. Each and every one of us praying to whoever he or she prays to for guidance. And that was one honest prayer from deep down my heart. Jakosha ngatina matei. Diwendo Okay, Africa zvinonguva yekuti tibire rwizi toende Joni vanonotiona ikweyo. Kumbu my friend, can you see that red light shining over there, my friend? My friend, that is Johannesburg, my friend. That is where we're going. My friend, I'm telling you, my reliable sources tells me that in South Africa, my friend, in South Africa, there's no load shedding. There's no load shedding in South Africa, my friend. My friend, in South Africa, there is not even recession. There's no recession in South Africa. The moment we get to South Africa, my friend, white people with very big cars will be bothering us, hooting, beep, 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 beep. Hello, boys. Do you want a job, boys? Come on, jump in, boys. Jump in, come to the offices, boys. Jump in. My friend, don't worry, my friend. I'm with you, my friend. All the way, Kumbu. I'm with you all the way. Onological specimens of identical plumage perambulate in close proximity. And they Jaco. One, two, 3 steps in the river. There goes the Titanic. The river did not seem like it was flowing from the surface. But as I began not to feel the ground, I felt a strong force of currents sweeping my legs, and I knew I had a lot to expect. After about 30 minutes of pedaling, A guy second from me totally lost control of the situation. And I only saw his hands waving helplessly into the river. But no one made an effort to save him. Our captain screamed at us, "Yeah. Don't look at anyone drowning here. We are not responsible for anyone dying. Come on, focus, freaking focus." My mind became blank. My eyes focused to the other side. Branches flown by the currents hit my skinny legs. But I felt stronger than Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mike Tyson put together. I had begun to gain control over my fears. A few minutes later, someone else lost control of the situation, and I could not see who it was. I hung in there, waiting for two things: to get to the other side, or to follow the two who had gone to the wrong side. At that moment, I was not scared of death. I was ready to face it. After all, I had nothing to lose. No one knew where I was. Finally, we got to the other side. I felt totally exhausted. Hey, Jacobo. Jacobo. Jacob. Jacob. I looked for Jacob to congratulate him on this wonderful achievement. But Jacob was nowhere to be found. Jacob. Cried. Felt useless. I did not know what to do. Should I report this to the police? No. No. I was now an official border jumper, an illegal alien, a quiri, a cockroach. reporting this to the police will mean my deportation. I will be giving away a life that Jacob wanted. A life that I wanted. A life that would make those people back home proud of me. Life in abundance. As a man, I had to bottle it up and move on, because in my culture, a man does not cry. Ichiba Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe Chako, I looked for my clothes, but I only found my short trousers, which I used as my underwear. Felt terrible alone. We got to the fence and we sneaked through. And of course it was razor wired, but not as much as the one at the border post. And of course I did get my fair share of cuts on my six-pack. But I did not feel any pains, because the pain of losing Jacob had filled me up. We got to the farm and I was employed as a tomato picker. We started work way before sunrise and finished way after sunset. I worked my heart out so that I could impress and then move on with my journey to Johannesburg. After 7 days of hard labor, I asked the foreman to release me so that I could go ahead with my journey to Johannesburg. But he laughed at me. Ha 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 ha. So you'll never make it, winner. Police roadblocks are mounted everywhere. When are you without papers? I will soon be deported, winner. But this is not what I wanted to hear. I insisted. Then he gave me my week's salary of 30 rands in coins. I tried getting a lift from the trucks transporting tomatoes to Johannesburg, but they wanted at least 100 rands for their trouble. After a long time of trying, I saw a certain driver struggling with a cell phone. I'd never used a cell phone before, but then I noticed that was a brand new cell phone from the box, and obviously the manual was in there. Apparently I can read. So I offered to help. I followed the instructions on the manual and box your uncle. It worked. Then we made a deal. My first ever business deal. Weputi mnandi hamba nawe. Boom. Arriving at Park Station, Johannesburg. 2 runs up, 2 runs up, 4 S through and 4 S through and so wait a minute, let's do 4 S one. People. I call attention passengers. The train at platform number 12. Oh my God! Shops full of groceries, shops full of clothing, shops full of furniture, shops. And there in front of me, a board that read, roasted whole chicken, 28 rands. 28 rands. I had enough. I bought one. Sat outside. And starting by the thigh, I enjoyed it all without anyone to say, yeah, don't touch that thigh, that's for the father. Finger licking good. I sat there, not knowing what to do. I had no more money, nowhere to go, no shoes, just a short trousers. I just walked and walked, hoping for the best. I walked till I got to a very beautiful place called the Zoo Lake. I loved the place and decided to spend my night there. I slept at the back of the public toilets, then woke up early in the morning and washed my face in the public toilets, then joined a lot of people walking their dogs. People walking dogs. This was a new experience to me. I mean, from where I come from, dogs do not get such a treatment. They stay put outside and they fend for themselves. And most of their meals comes from the dustbins. But here, I saw how these people cared for their dogs and how healthy were these dogs. And I wished I was one of these dogs. Zulek became my home. Hey, Mrs. Johnson! Hey, how are you, Mrs. Johnson? Ah, hello, Sophie, Sophie, yeah. Zindlinja zabelungu madoda, yeah. Ayabheka umsila, toy. Ebo! But it felt lonely. Then I remembered Jacob. Kumbu, my friend, you can't just sit there doing nothing, my friend, yeah? You can't rest on your laurels, my friend. Kumbu, use your common medulla oblongata. Get a job, my friend. Get a job, my friend. So I walked on all surrounding suburbs, buzzing on each and every gate. Judging by the way I looked, I knew I had to start from the gardens. Ding dong. Hello. Hello, sir. My name is Jonathan, sir. I am looking for a job, sir. Sorry, we already have somebody working for us. Thank you very much, sir. Ding dong. Woo woo! Yeah, that was house number 567. And every time when I buzzed, I was told the same story. Sorry, we already have somebody working for us. And that really motivated me. I knew if someone else did get a job, then my chance would also come. It was only a matter of time. Every time I walked, policemen passed me, but they never stopped me. Maybe because of the way I looked, they thought I was cuckoo. Days, weeks, months went by. Things changed, but for the worst. I was getting weaker and weaker every day. My lips were splitting. My feet were swollen. My hope was fading. Jacob, vakafa vakazorora. Those who had died are resting. Jacob, are you resting in that beautiful place where there is no sorrow, no misery, no pain I'm going through? Jacob, is that the place he wanted us to go? But I just did not get it. Jacob, I know you can hear me. I know you can see me. But why? Why can't you talk with the elders up there and bring down some fortune for me? And stop this suffering. Jacob, are you cross with me for not making an effort to save you? Jacob, is God punishing me? Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. You might wonder, how did I survive? Mulberries. Even though they gave me a running stomach, I became an expert in mulberries. I knew which houses had the sweetest ones and which ones to avoid. One day, as I was coming from my late lunch at number 16 Toad Road, which was, for starters, mulberries. Main course, mulberries. Dessert, mulberries. I met a lady who worked as an estate agent. Hello, madam. Madam, my name is Jonathan, madam. I'm looking for a job, madam. Sorry, I already have someone working for me. And then she moved on. I was not offended because I was being used in being rejected. Anyway, who will take me serious looking the way I was looking? But then she did come back. Hey, Baga, are you strong enough? I've got some manure at my house. Would you mind putting it for me in my garden? That was the big break I've been waiting for. Suddenly, I remembered our church pastor. He will provide manna, milk, and honey. But for me, he provided manure for the garden. Okay, Baga. Here is my number. Be there tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I was there 6:30. Okay, Baga. This is the manure. You will work for 2 days and I will pay you 80 rands a day. See you lunchtime. Okie dokie. Looking at the manure, I knew I'll finish this in less than an hour, and I did. When she came back, I had already raked the leaves, mowed the lawn, and swept around the pool. No, Baga, no, Baga, no. You are not supposed to work for 30 minutes. You're supposed to work for 2 days. Then you get 80 plus 80, that's 160. Now you only worked half a day. 40 rands for you.
Okay.
I did not care about the money. I wanted to impress. And I did. Then she paid me 200 rands. And I took a long hot shower with bubbles. Then she gave me some clothes. A designer shirt. Dry clean only. A striped charcoal trousers with pleats. A crocodile skin belt. And there I was. Some shoes. Shoeless ones. There I was, looking good and clean and fresh. Tra-la-la. Then she took me to her office and introduced me to all her colleagues. Good morning, people. This tall, skinny bagger are here is Jonathan. I met him on the street, gave him a job to do for 2 days, and he did it in 10 minutes. And they were all laughing. And there I was, sitting in an office on a chair that goes round and round, sipping cappuccino and networking. The Zimbabwean Black Eagle had finally landed. Gondo ema remu Zimbabwe razoma. I am not telling you this story so that you feel sorry for me. No, no, no. Hell no. Actually, I don't feel sorry for myself. I feel honored and blessed in this. It had activated my common sense, which is not common to many people. It had taught me to be brave. That is why I am on stage, telling my true life story. It had taught me not to let situations rule my destiny, but to go out there and look for what I want. That is why I now stay in George, the city for all reasons. It had taught me to network. That is why I'm spending my Friday evening with beautiful people, successful people like all of you here in a mansion. In a mansion. If Jacob was here, he will be saying, Kumbu, my friend, I told you so. This is the Gondwana Game Reserve I was talking about, my friend. My friend, we are in a market. Look at this, my friend. Look at this. It's stretching, my friend. It's stretching. My friend. Monological specimens of identical perambulate in close proximity. Birds of a feather flock together.
It's because of her long shape. She thinks she's a crocodile.
Really?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Ah.